Good morning and welcome to the 12 Today After Show, only on Facebook Live.
Thank you, dear.
Never mind the weatherman rearranging the furniture on your screen.
I never mind.
What do we do around here?
Well, someone's got to do it. That table should be closer.
Yeah.
I can't put my feet on it. What's the purpose of the thing?
Got to get a longer heel.
There we go.
We lost.
Oh, jeez.
We lost one plant yesterday
One of the fake
because
succulents. What happened?
Jimmy put the grape
on
from
it?
your cake yesterday on there, and it caused a mess, so they took it out.
They just threw it away?
I think they have to clean it.
A grape touched it, so they had to toss the
Do I
succulent?
have
It was
to
on
eat
the
cake
top, just
faster
hanging
next
out.
time? Like there's a bit of a gap.
That's why we can't
You were
have nice
saving it
things.
for later.
Hope your Wednesday's going all right, guys.
Hump day.
Just tell us how your Wednesday's going
Go
in the
ahead.
comments.
Go ahead and turn your mic on.
Oh.
Is this live or?
Wait, are we on television right now?
Oh, we're not rehearsing.
Oh no, this is the real deal.
Thank you for joining us on the 12 Today After Show.
Okay.
Vanessa, Paul, Rachel, Jimmy. I hope your day's going okay. You guys have got the coffee. You're slinging it.
Yeah, you have to have the coffee.
Where's your
If you're
Joe?
having it at home.
I drank a lot before the show.
Okay.
I try to get charged up and
Yeah.
then slowly die as the show goes along.
Okay.
I don't drink coffee. I've tried and I've tried.
What wakes you up first thing in the morning?
You know, the first thing I do when I wake up is I squeeze half a lemon into a cup. I put some water. And then I drink that. So that's the first thing.
That's it. Yeah.
That's supposed
water.
to help your metabolism.
I take a
lemon water or
sprig
an apple?
of parsley and I let it, I put it on my lip. And, it just gets me going the whole day long.
But other than that, it's all natural. But I've tried and tried, and I smell your guys' coffee. And it
Dude,
smells
what if you
good.
met like the hottest dude ever and it was like it, and he says, you want to go for coffee? Are you going to say I don't drink coffee?
I get a tea. I order a tea
lemon.
while he drinks a coffee.
I've been turned on to so many unbelievable exotic foods by people that I've gone on dates with that like oysters. I couldn't stand them. And I went out on a date in Boston and this girl was like, you do eat oysters, don't you? And I said, absolutely. And I did. And I learned to eat them. And now to this day, I eat raw oysters.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
a fan favorite.
I
in
love them.
Corpus Christi.
Heck yeah.
You get oysters Rockefeller.
Oh, see?
I
That's what I'm
Water
talking
Street.
about. I think that girl was about as smoking hot as you. Yeah, it worked.
We're asking in the comments whether or not you believe in love at first sight, but I want to get to one more talker before we touch on that one. We were talking about eSports this morning and how prevalent they're becoming. In fact, there are some Valley schools that are about to adopt eSports programs as sort of an alternative, I suppose, to those kids that can't play actual sports after school, whether it's because they're not athletically inclined or they don't want to make the schedules work, they've got other things going on. There's lots of reasons you'd want to play eSports, but it generated a bit of a discussion because I think there are a lot of people that still fall into that, well, video gamers are just fat slobs living in mom's basement sort of stereotypes. But that's not what we're seeing nationally right now. Esports is becoming an enormous business, and it's a way for these kids who are very talented at things to sort of show off their skills in a competitive environment. What say you guys about the rise of esports?
I mean, they're the same parents. You can't be yelling at the kids to get off the video games anymore because they could be training for not only a paying job later in life, maybe stemming from some of these competitions at the high school level, but you know, it's fun and interactive for them if they're doing it with classmates. Like you said, if they're going home and they're playing these anyways, why not do it with other students?
One of our viewers, Eric, texted this morning and saying that if it doesn't involve physicality, it's not a sport. We had another viewer text in and said that if you can do it sitting down, it's not a sport. I would argue, I know several para-athletes that would love to argue with you about that. I think you can be sitting down and still be competing in a sport, and it's a tough line to draw. Is auto racing a sport? I think you're going to find purists that say absolutely it is. And you're sitting down when you're driving a car, too.
Yeah, maybe we don't focus so much on the fact that they're calling it esports. It's just a school activity that they're trying to incorporate so that the kids and students that aren't maybe as athletic and don't want to play basketball or can't jump over the volleyball net, which okay, I told the coach it's not my thing.
A sport as much as an activity.
Right, it's more of an activity,
So,
and that's fine. So don't worry about the label. Worry about the fact that they're going to incorporate it so more students can be involved with extracurricular activities outside of the playing field.
Sign of the times.
I guess the question is, would you put your kids into esports? Is that something that you would entertain, or do you still ascribe to the old philosophy that you should be doing something better or more productive with your time than playing video games?
I want my kids to play golf, so whatever makes them happy, but they're going to play golf.
Golf's not a sport.
Oh, see?
Oh,
well, people say the same thing about cheerleading, and when I was in high school, I was on the varsity cheer squad, and it definitely was difficult, hard. We had to wake up at 5 a.m., go do these practices, a lot of drills.
Physical. Did you do the flips and all that acrobatic stuff?
Yes, we did a lot, and we went to competition. It was definitely a sport in my eyes, but a lot of people argue that it's not.
I feel like anything that calls for a shower after the fact is a sport. Can you just say that? I mean, cheerleading, like.
Yeah.
So a trip to Chipotle, that's a sport.
For you, maybe after the fact.
The extra red sauce.
So is the morning show that a sport?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think walking around the studio is showing athleticism. It's not easy to get. Did you see me running to the pageant queens? I almost fell.
I heard you. It was kind of funny.
Click, click, click.
Click,
Yeah, that
click,
was me.
click, click,
They
click.
were great, by the way. The high school Arizona America.
What do you guys
beauty
think about
contestants.
pageants? I'm like, here's what I think.
Those young ladies.
I think
okay,
they
go
ought to
ahead.
take. I really think they ought to take. You have to have a certain GPA to do it. That'd be the first thing. If I was running a pageant, if you're going to be in this pageant. More
What
than
was your
anything,
GPA?
it's horrible. I wouldn't have made a pageant.
He's no pageant queen.
But I think we should. I'd rather judge a girl by more her brains and her intelligence and stuff, as opposed to and prove it.
And
what are your
that-
SAT scores? Where do you? Let's get into that. Because in life, beauty fades, but the brain goes on.
And
So
that was the
real
beauty
for
of
me.
having the contestants in studio was that they were able to talk about, hey, one of them wants to go to U of A and study forensic science and is really into all of this complex studies that she's going to be getting into over at University of
And if they win a $10,000 scholarship.
Oh yeah,
That's amazing.
A lot of good
If
stuff.
you ask me, that's a wise
What do
move.
you guys think of
Yes.
swimsuit competition? Should they keep the swimsuits?
Oh, they
in?
said they said they're taking those out, right?
On some of them, there are different pageants. And for me, I've participated in a pageant, and the thing is, I knew what I was getting myself into when I signed up for it. I knew that there was a bathing suit competition along with an answer, a portion of it as well. So I'm okay with it, but if other people are uncomfortable, then there's another pageant system that doesn't have that.
Be judged though by how good she looks in a swimsuit?
These
Because that's what you're doing.
These contestants, though, are working hard on
yeah.
their physique for that round.
You set a goal at the beginning when you
they
start.
set a goal, much like the rest of the competition, and then they want to show off their results. And I think if they want to, go for it. If you don't want to, do a different competition.
Yeah, that's what I said. There's different. There's America and USA, and some of them have the bathing suit and some of them don't. So you can choose the other one then.
We've got a lot of concurrent conversations going on in the 12 Today After Show. If you're just joining us, we're asking you about love at first sight. We're talking about the rise of eSports programs in our state, and they just started a conversation about what you think about pageants. Let's get back to the eSports for just a second, because we're getting opinions from the viewers on both sides of the aisle of this issue. Aaron says, no, we need physical activities. But Patricia says, no, eSports give non-athletic kids a way to engage in school activities. And Janice agrees. She says, I do like it. It takes time to develop relationships. Christofferson actually just stepped in. He says he's a part-time streamer, so this is somebody that's actually playing esports. He says it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination and reaction times to be really good at esports. Trust me, I played games, I played football, and it helped me with my hand-eye coordination.
Oh, okay, so that's some solid input from the 12 Today viewers. I think that's really great, all the people weighing in on the after show here. And what's interesting is that by putting this in at school and on campus, there are probably far better ways to regulate the vulgarity of some of the stuff that is what they're seeing at home, maybe when they're not being supervised by parents or they're on apps they're not supposed to be. Later this week, we're going to have a story about the Twitch app, which is about live streaming and video games, and you can watch. And the people that are playing, while it's great to watch them, they use some foul language occasionally, and you don't want your students exposed to that.
It's
So if they can do it with
also
other students, it might be better.
A good way for them to bond with other students, because when you're in
Social
a sport,
activity.
yeah, you're on a team together, and this way they can bond with other gamers.
So I don't mean to intercede as the resident nerd here, but let me just pose a question to the three of you and to the viewers that are watching on Facebook right now. Which do you think is more applicable long-term over the course of your life? Something you learned on the baseball diamond or some skill that you may have picked up on a video game? Because I would argue that the sort of skills that are more applicable to a technological age that we live in are more likely to be learned with a controller in your hand than with a baseball glove on your hand.
Have you ever had anyone soft toss a lavalier mic to you in the field?
Yes, and I was able to catch it because I played baseball for 10 years. And I understand the value of sports. They provide a lot of the same things.
And movement.
Yes, the companionship and the relationships and the discipline that you have to develop. I think that the Venn diagram between esports and actual sports has a lot more overlap than people realize. I think that they just hear esports and they think, those nerds, those guys should get outside a little more. I don't think that we're really appreciating the value that these programs have. I was a mathlete myself back in the day. I played Quiz Bowl. You guys know what Quiz Bowl was? No. It was like think Jeopardy, but for like middle school and high school teams. Yeah. And so we'd travel school to school and compete in like trivia competitions basically against other kids.
Awesome. I think that's great. I think
but it's not a sport. I mean, it's
is good.
No.
Yeah,
I love competition, no matter what it is.
Really?
Yes.
We've been going on for a long time here before getting to our In Case You Missed It. So we got to get to a segment before they just like kick us offline. In case you missed 12 today, we had a nice little talker, a story about a young man who went to school wearing his favorite green shirt, but mom picked the wrong day to send him to school in that green shirt. I shouldn't have worn the green shirt for pictures. It'll blend in with the green screen they used. Apparently, mom didn't know they were going to use a green screen for this kid's school pictures. And as you can see, things turned out just like they would if one of you guys wore a green shirt on our green screen. You become completely invisible, no matter what the background is. Although this kid's floating head is pretty solid.
I mean, he's a cute kid.
He's smiling at least. The St. Louis school apparently uses a green screen for the school picture backdrop. And if you've never seen this before, I mean, this is what happens if you wear green.
Did you ever take a picture in front of a green screen for school? We always had that like horrible gray, cloudy.
Yeah, the one, or like the one with the lasers. You had to pay like an extra $5 to get like the cool 90s laser picture in the background.
I never paid extra for a school photo.
At least
parents
they took
never even ordered them.
Oh.
They didn't care. They never ordered it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So there's no collage at your house with like first grade, second grade, third grade, Rachel?
No.
Doesn't exist.
But we have portraits here of the Team 12 by our boss's office, and I love those. They're nice photos of the whole squad.
How about mine?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Jimmy's
like the Step Brothers one.
I like that.
You ever do that little green screen fail? You wear a green tie on the wrong day or something like that?
St. Patty's Day, maybe?
A couple times, yeah. Actually, the guys in the back, the boys and the ladies in the back, and
They tweak the knobs and pull the levers, and they fix it all.
But I need to bring it back. It's kind of gimmicky, but I used to bring like a green cloak for Halloween, so that I'd be a floating head.
Oh yeah.
Or a green mask over my head, so that I'd be headless and
The
stuff.
headless weatherman.
Funny,
Headless weatherman.
I tend to get more likes and stuff on my social media when I don't have a head. It's weird.
Something about your face
Yeah,
is just very
once my
punchable,
face is
Jimmy.
gone, all of a sudden people like me.
We'll get back to some of your viewer comments in the section here on Facebook in just a second. We appreciate you guys chiming in on all of our topics today. But first, we want to get to some fresh squeezed juice.
Yeah, we have a discussion about breastfeeding in public after a mom snapped a picture of herself. Yeah. And was told to cover up.
Yeah, this was last week on the show.
So we talked about it last week, but there's something new with it.
Plenty of you weighed in, and this morning another picture is going viral on social media. Maybe you've seen this on your feeds. This is the picture snapped by an onlooker who then posted it to social media. Police officer is Celeste Ayala, and she was working security at a children's hospital in Buenos Aires, Argentina, when the crying baby was brought in. A mother to a newborn, she asked if she could hold and feed the child. She's since been praised for her compassion, even receiving a promotion from officer to
Wow, she got a promotion?
So, a little background on this. We talked about this extensively in our morning editorial meeting yesterday because this is a bit of a talker.
Right.
This hospital apparently was understaffed to the point where they had more kids than they could care for. And the officer was there for some other thing and was basically listening to this newborn cry and said, listen, like, I'm mother to a newborn. Do you need me to help out? And the hospital just said, okay, go for it. And while I think it's cool and the compassion she shows is astounding, and I'm not sure that I would do that if I were a woman for somebody else's kid, it also raises the question, what sort of checks and balances are going on here? Like some stranger, even a police officer, walks in off the street and says, go ahead and breastfeed this kid. I mean, I understand that she's held to a higher standard because she's a law enforcement official, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't something in her system that maybe shouldn't be fed to some stranger's baby, right?
Yeah, well, I think we're talking about a third world country here, pretty much, you know?
Is Argentina a third world country?
Close to it.
Okay.
I would say. Obviously, it's...
You're a little more well-traveled
like
than I am.
you're saying, when you go... I know a lot of people are going to yell at me. I am Peruvian, so I'm South American, but I know that these countries, to be able to do that, like you just hit the nail on the head, checks and balances.
Yeah.
How do you know she didn't have hepatitis or she had something that, you know, something she could have passed on to the child, which we don't know what she had. But no, absolutely. I'd flip out if I found out, but I don't know what you know. But in a country like this, guess what? You do what you have to do. The child's starving, you do it. I think it's fine. It's okay. Would that happen here? Heck No.
No.
You have,
And would you flip out if you found out your kid, or even an adopted kid that was hungry here? It would still be, you have to go through a certain protocol.
Is anybody weighing in on this one?
Nothing about the breastfeeding yet, although I'm curious to hear
lot.
from you ladies as to whether or not you would do this. We are getting more responses about the esports. Patricia says, I will say my son who wrestled learned a lot about perseverance, endurance, and anger management on the mat. Brad York says the team aspect of football, the discipline, the physical training is so very important to how I've approached my career and personal relationships. And the same can be said for involvement in theater and the arts. This could apply to esports too, especially if it's a team effort that's involved. And Bob weighs in and says, I've read about the benefits for the brain while playing video games. Some studies suggest seniors should play more video games because you're challenged to make quick, correct decisions. It's good for the mind.
That might be really good.
I went out to a senior care facility and covered a Wii bowling tournament that they had.
Yeah.
They have them playing the Wii because it gets them up and it gets them moving, and that's a video game, and it
that's
incorporates
physical.
both.
You can do tennis on that too.
Oh yeah, Wii tennis. I am great Wii tennis. Serena Williams,
because you're very
Wii
competitive.
tennis.
But honestly, on Paul's point, I'm the opposite. I played sports. There's stuff in sports I've learned to this day that I still carry with me. You know, a lot of rules, coaches, people that have mentored me and taught me how to handle myself, how to handle pressure situations. In football, how to be physical without and controlling that, you know, so you can get in a newsroom situation when it's crazy and heated. You're not trying to punch somebody. You're dealing with stuff like that.
Problem solving.
Yeah, and then just setting goals and believing in yourself and setting goals that are almost unattainable.
A lot of discipline with that too.
Yeah, a lot of that. Same with that. So not that you can't find that in other things, but there's stuff in sports that obviously I can't play sports now, but or as heavy as I used to, but lessons that I've learned.
Stephanie's saying there's a bit of an overlap too when you're talking about virtual reality. She says she has a virtual reality headset. It becomes very physical, and as a mom, I love my kids using it because of that physical aspect. She thinks multiplayer VR is going to be fabulous for kids.
All right, good. Well, we appreciate everybody weighing in. This is good stuff this morning. It's very interesting.
Let's get to our extra shot, something you can expect a little later in the week on 12 Today.
The town of Bisbee is following in the footsteps of Tucson and Flagstaff in getting rid of fluoride in its water supply. But fluoride has been linked to a decrease in cavities and has some parents worried about their kids' chops. Yeah, and their dental health overall. Should they be worried? Or do we get enough fluoride from food and toothpaste? We're verifying tomorrow morning right here on 12 Today.
It's been proven for a long time that having fluoride in the water supply is good for your dental health. That said, I think there are more communities in Arizona that have taken the fluoride out of their water than you probably realize. I'm not sure I would know if my water supply had fluoride in it because it's supposed to be tasteless.
Does the Brita filter that out?
I don't drink tap water.
It doesn't.
You don't ever?
Rarely.
I always drink tap water.
It all comes in. You a tap girl?
Yeah, I put in the Brita and then it.
That's.
Yeah, but you put it in there, and if you don't change the filter,
bless your heart.
It's still tap water.
Are you hating? You hating on the Brita filter?
Britas are good. No, I'm not Brita.
Nah, you're hating.
You put
It
those
tastes like tap water.
back.
It's good.
It's
Perfect.
good stuff. Yeah, really good.
We're getting
like
some
the
responses
fluoride
about that baby. Good for her for taking care of the baby, says Stephanie. But Cindy says, I can't believe this. There could be something unhealthy with that woman. Maybe I missed it. Where is the real mother? I don't have the answer to that question, Cindy. I don't know where the mother is.
Or what about formula? Don't they have formula at the hospital? At least she could have helped feed the baby with formula.
That's something one of our producers,
own...
Brianna, said yesterday. Don't they have Infamil just around in the hospital? Maybe they're short on supply. A lot of questions. And I'm not sure we have the answers necessarily, but I guess at the end of the day, as a mother, is this a heroic act or is this an act that potentially endangers that child? Because it's one or the other, right? Or is it some gray area?
I don't think the child.
In that country, is fine. In a world, in Europe and here, no, it's horrendously no.
I have a girlfriend. She was breastfeeding her son for a while, and she said if we were talking about it because she saved her placenta and turned it into vitamins, and so she was drinking that. But she also brought up the fact that if someone else was in need, another baby, that she would breastfeed another baby. I'm like, really? You would do this for another baby? She said, yeah, hands down, she would not even second guess it and would help out another baby.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'd want to test her first to make sure she doesn't have anything she could pass on to the baby she's going to breastfeed.
Yeah, hospitals regulate it and have moms donate if they're not going to breastfeed their own kids, and they make sure it's all clean and
last time I can remember a story like that happening was in a book called The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. That happened.
Did you read the whole thing? It's a long book.
During the Great Depression, they had to do that. But that was, once again, dirt
I think it's
poor,
hard to ignore
people are starving.
a child in need.
Brad York qualifies what is a third world country, by the way. He says the first world counted those countries aligned with the West and the United States. The second world was the Eastern Bloc and communist countries. The third world included all the remaining non-aligned countries. Given this, not only is Argentina a third world country, so is Switzerland.
Ooh.
So the definition of what is third world, I think there's a pejorative connotation that goes along with it as undeveloped, but that's not necessarily the case. Although, Jimmy, you said it.
I don't think you'd run into that in Switzerland.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think a third world country, what I'm talking about is just a country that has a very, they're poor. There's a lot of poor stuff that happens down there. And, and in Argentina, I'm sure there's a lot of cities that are great, and Buenos Aires, well developed, but who knows? There's a lot of parts of Argentina. We don't know poverty here in the U.S. Our homeless live better than most people. What do they say? Somebody that makes $21,000 a year, which is not a lot of money, makes more than 98% of anyone else in the world. So.
That's an astounding statistic. Not a bad one to leave you with. Thank you for joining us on the 12th Today After Show, everybody. We appreciate you popping by at 7:30 Monday through Friday. You know what? Let's do it again tomorrow.
I'm here.
We didn't even get to the love at first sight. Hey, there was a
Maybe
lot
we'll
to
do that
focus on
tomorrow.
that.
There was also a cute video of basset hounds.
I know, we missed it.
Sorry, guys. Something on the plate for tomorrow. Be good, everybody.